One of the most often asked questions when I talk to brass players is what kind of warm-up I do. And everyone's very concerned with what the best warm-up is for their playing. I hate to disappoint you, but there isn't a best warm-up. It's a very individual thing. Having said that, we can have a look at some of the parameters though, and some of the things you might want to think about for your warm-up. My warm-up's very, very brief. Although I have to split the warm-up into two parts. There's a mental warm-up as well as a physical one. Now the physical warm-up for me is the part that's very brief. In fact, it's non-existent a lot of the time. I'll turn up to a gig, I'll take the trumpet out of the case, walk onto the stage when they announce me and there's applause and start playing. Although I did do that once and I had a problem. There was a blockage in the trumpet and nothing came out, and that was a little embarrassing. So I have taken since then just blowing 2 or 3 notes to make sure all the valves are working before I walk out. But quite seriously, I often don't have any physical warm-up at all. Now that doesn't mean I don't have a warm-up. I have a mental warm-up. And although your physical warm-up is quite personal, will be different for everyone, the mental one is much more the same for all of us. It's about preparing yourself to play. Lots of things happen that you can't actually control. You know, it's like if I said, when you eat a meal, are you going to digest it now? And you go, oh yeah, I think I will. I mean, you don't kind of have a choice, do you? That happens. It is your body doing it, but you're not consciously in control of it. Well, a lot of stuff happens when you play that you're not consciously in control of too. When you get innovated, when you get more energy going around your body to play the trumpet, you know, it's not something you can just physically say, I think I'll speed up my bloodstream. You get excited and it happens anyway. Okay, for some people, walking onto stage does that for them. What I do is I become aware that I'm going to play soon. You know, it's rare that I play suddenly without knowing it was going to happen. You know you're going to performance or a rehearsal, or you're going to take your trumpet out and play it for whatever reason. As I take the trumpet out of the case, I just start to breathe deeper naturally because I know I'm about to play. Mentally I'm thinking, what's this going to be like? I'm starting to hear my sound before I play. And what that does is cause all sorts of physical things to happen that I don't need to be aware of. I just know I feel like I'm more ready to play. Okay. One of the things that is part of a physical warm-up, of course, is getting circulation going. And, you know, if you're going to do any sort of exercise, it's said to be a good idea to do some kind of warm-up, some stretching first or something. You can do all of that without actually picking up a trumpet. So if you've just been sleeping and you're going to play the trumpet, it might be good to have a bit of a stretch or, you know, do a little jog on the spot. What do we really need to physically warm up that's specific to trumpet playing? Maybe the circulation to your lips is far greater playing the trumpet than anything else you can do. So you might want to blow a few notes. Some people like to actually do quite lengthy warm-ups. Now if you know someone, or you are someone, or you're someone that even teaches you must warm up and play scales and do what's beforehand, I'm not contradicting you at all. That may well be true for you, but it's a very individual thing. Here's the word of caution though. Because so much of trumpet playing, and actually anything, is mental. If we tell ourselves we need 20 minutes to warm up, it becomes true, but only because we said so. I didn't sit down one day and say, I think I'll have a non-physical warm-up and design it or plan it, or I didn't get taught it. It was simply expedience. I would turn up to the gig too late to do a warm-up most of the time. I tend to cut things fine. Also, I'm a multi-instrumentalist. I don't just play the trumpet. But don't tell anyone on a trumpet DVD. So I'd have lots of instruments. You can't warm them all up, and even if you did, by the time you get to the 7th one, the first one's cold again. So of necessity, I've become a non-warm-up player. But isn't it funny that because I didn't get around to developing a warm-up, I don't need one? And they say the proof of the pudding is in the eating. It means, you know, never mind about the theory, what works, works. Well, I can pick up the trumpet and play any time, and a warm-up doesn't seem to make any difference. Now, having said we're all different physically, some of you will need some sort of physical warm-up. But if you're a person that does a 45-minute warm-up, and I know some do, and they're great players, don't get me wrong, I don't think they need the 45 minutes. They've talked themselves into it. So be reasonable. By the time you've been playing a trumpet for 5 to 10 minutes, you're not going to warm up any more physically than that. You're warmed up. If you need more than that, it's because you're getting your mind into gear. There's nothing wrong with that. However, think about this. If you spend 20 minutes playing the trumpet to warm up, and 5 minutes of that is actual physical warm-up, which your body needs, and the other 15 minutes is really you getting your mind into gear while you play, you've just used 15 minutes of your endurance. You've just used 15 minutes of your energy physically that you could put into the performance that night while you do a mental warm-up. So I would urge you to actually try to mentally warm up mentally and only do the physical warm-up you really need. How you do that is simply exactly as you would when you're playing. I shut my eyes when I talk about it because I sit there and imagine I'm playing. And heaps of stuff happens that would happen when I play and warms up, except I'm not using any of these muscles physically, okay, not wearing anything out. And I'm also, not making a whole lot of noise backstage before I go on. It can be very handy when you're in the middle of a program, they say, shh, and you're on next. If you don't need that physical warm-up, you've got a leg up on someone who does. Okay, so to recap about warm-ups, it's individual. Nobody's warm-up is wrong. Nobody's warm-up is right. But make sure you're not physically warming up any more than you actually need to. But do a mental warm-up every time you play. And most of all, when you pick this thing up and you go to play it, don't get a surprise. Be ready to play. Every time I put this trumpet to my lips and make a sound, I'm warmed up.